Yeah, I'll react to that, sure. Okay, guys. I want to watch a wildlife UK video. I had seen a thumbnail of Natasha and Debbie, I believe had done one of these videos about a week ago, and so I don't really want to step on their shoes. And so maybe I'll upload it and tomorrow or the next day. How to bring wilderness back to Britain, or introduced and non-native species. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo, and it's you. Red, white, and blue.
This is one of the few rare pockets of wilderness left in the UK. A wetland in Cornwall where beavers, reintroduced in 2017, managed to reshape.
I thought beavers were only a North American thing. I wouldn't be surprised if they were in Kamchatka Peninsula. Is that the far eastern Russia? Cool. So I'm already pausing. Okay.
This is one of the few rare pockets of wilderness left in the UK. A wetland in Cornwall where beavers, reintroduced in 2017, managed to reshape an intact ecosystem. Elsewhere in England, at West Plain Woods, these European bison are waiting for their release in 2022. Their mission is to function as ecosystem engineers and hence allow other species to thrive. And recently, the support to reintroduce wolves to the Scottish Highlands rose in order to reverse decades of environmental damage.
Question.
On an island so overpopulated by humans, is it possible that a huge rewilding movement could restore lost ecosystems?
Guys, so obviously in places like the UK, where it's not a very big island, a not very big landmass, big country, and so it's not very big country. It's an island, too. It's going to make it hard for European species to make it over there. It's been worked a lot because of how long it's been populated and people have lived there. A lot of deforestation, and of course, when you're in the modern world, we don't have to think about predators being necessarily a problem, potential issue for your family or whatnot. But back in the day, I'm sure, if I was a father in a hunter-gatherer situation, if I saw a predator that could kill a kid, I'd probably kill it myself. So just the history of the island. And so I'm just wondering exactly what caused all of the more bigger animals to go extinct on the UK, or you know what I mean? So I'm assuming it's a bunch of those factors combined, but let's go.
In the past, the UK was full of wilderness and home to brown bears, lynx, and wolves, all of which are now extinct in the country. Meanwhile, around 70% of the UK's land area is used for agriculture, which has decimated large parts of the ecosystem. Yet agriculture only employs 1.5% of the UK's workforce and contributes around 0.5% to its GDP. This juxtaposition has led many to question whether the UK's land area is being used effectively. Forecasts suggest that in the period between 2015 and 2030, about 11% of agricultural land in Europe will have a high risk of abandonment by farmers, leaving behind large areas of unused land. In recent years, this has inspired a growing rewilding movement across the UK. Originally, the concept of rewilding was associated with the restoration of large, connected wilderness areas that support wide-ranging keystone species and apex predators like the grey wolf. Since then, three broad forms of rewilding have been distinguished. Passive or ecological rewilding focuses on letting nature take care of itself, enabling natural processes to shape the ecosystem, like here in Oostvaardersplassen in the Netherlands, where animals graze freely and totally unassisted by humans. Translocation or trophic rewilding is a more active approach.
You know what's so cool? I learned, I think one of you guys told me this in a comment. I don't know if it's, I think, is it true that certain species, if you let them out, domesticated species, like I know for pigs, hogs, for instance, if they escape into the wild or you let them into the wild, they will like instinctively grow a bit more hair and like kind of some tusks and stuff like that. And I think it might be the same with cows or something like that. I could be wrong, and I'm sorry if I'm misrepresenting that.
Translocation,
That's so
or
cool, it's
trophic
true.
rewilding, is a more active approach, which involves the reintroduction of species that were native to the area in recent history. The presence of a keystone species, like the Iberian lynx in Spain, helps to restore missing or dysfunctional ecosystem processes. Pleistocene rewilding introduces descendants of megafauna species that disappeared after a mass extinction towards the end of the last ice
Hippos.
age, 12,000 years ago. This happened unintentionally around Pablo Escobar's private zoo on his seized estate in Colombia. This form of rewilding is largely disputed as it bears a high chance of uncertain impacts due to the potential risks connected to the introduction of a completely foreign species into an ecosystem.
Guys, imagine it would be such a cool experiment, but not worth it because it could have insane consequences. If you put polar bears and let some, if you captured some polar bears and let them loose in Antarctica, because they definitely be able to survive there. I mean, they're all like they got seals there and stuff, but more importantly, I think polar bears would thrive in Antarctica at the great expense of penguins, because penguins are in the south, polar bears are in the north. Penguins don't have to worry about any land predators, unless I guess a seal comes on land, a leopard seal, but those aren't land predators, right? But if a polar bear was on Antarctica, I think they would explode in population, but I mean, they would probably, that would have a huge impact.
In 2017, Chris and Janet Jones from Woodland Valley Farm brought Eurasian beavers back to Cornwall in an attempt to transform their farm into a biodiversity hotspot.
By damming it?
Having the beavers has been an absolute delight because they're constantly working, either building a dam or cutting down a tree or building a lodge. There's always something going on, and you know, any day of the week it's a little bit different from the day before.
Create a bunch
Beavers
of
have been
lakes.
dubbed the ultimate environmental engineers, capable of alleviating flooding and sparking new life into barren wilderness. Through their dams, the landscape has been restored dramatically for a fraction of the cost of other methods. Biodiversity has increased hugely in the wetlands. Elsewhere in the UK, another promising trophic rewilding project is underway in the West Blean Woods in East Kent, with the reintroduction of European bison. Large herbivores like bison graze in very unique ways. They kill selected trees by chewing their bark or rubbing up against them to remove molting fur. This generates deadwood and allows light to reach the woodland floor, providing a three-dimensional habitat for other species. They also create large sandpits through their dust bathing, which clears densely packed vegetation to form wildlife corridors. These are all of the active rewilding projects across the UK, which serve as an inspiration for other landowners to consider a more nature-based approach.
Whoa.
The concept first gained
Is that in the UK?
nature-based approach. The concept first gained mainstream appeal following its success in North America's Yellowstone National Park.
Oh.
In 1995, Yellowstone National Park famously reintroduced gray wolves after an absence of over 70 years. The project proved that when you take away the large animals, you are left with a radically different ecosystem. By reintroducing the wolves, deer populations fell, but much more significantly, they changed their behavior on the land. This allowed vegetation to recover, which changed the geography of the rivers, creating optimum habitats for a variety of species to return entirely on their own. Beavers built dams that created habitats for otters and ducks. The wolves also killed some of the coyotes. which led to an increase in rabbits and mice, bringing
Guys,
back...
so I believe the main reason that beavers build dams, obviously they build their like lodging underneath the dams, I believe, so it's a great protection, but so that they can more easily access, like it's a lot more easy to travel by water where they're better movers in water than on land, and to just travel by water in relative safety and then find trees. So it's safer to go find a tree, and then it's way easier to bring back trees to your dam because you can just push them along in the water back to the dam. So fascinating.
Also killed some of the coyotes, which led to an increase in rabbits and mice, bringing back other predators.
Sorry, guys. What killed coyotes?
Beavers built dams that created habitats for otters and ducks. The wolves also killed some of the coyotes, which led to an increase in rabbits and mice, bringing back other predators. This phenomenon is known as a trophic cascade, the process by which the activity of an apex predator at the top of the food chain stimulates the growth of several other animal species and enriches biodiversity. As the rewilding movement in the UK continues to grow, many have called for the reintroduction of wolves to the Scottish Highlands. In 2003, Paul Lister bought a 23,000-acre estate in the Central Highlands and called it Allerdale Wilderness Reserve. He planted...
Could use a little watering, maybe a, in-ground sprinkling system might help. And maybe some edge cutting. But nice lawn, beautiful house.
Estate in the Central Highlands and called it Allerdale Wilderness Reserve. He planted more than 900,000 trees, boosted red squirrel populations, protected salmon, and created a Scottish wildcat habitat.
Those house cats?
However, he still faced a booming red deer population, which was threatening his replanting efforts by eating the young tree shoots before they could mature. To combat the problem, Lister is seeking permission to bring wolves over from Sweden to kickstart a trophic cascade on his reserve. Currently, he is still waiting for approval from the Scottish Highlands Trust. The main resistance comes from local farmers and landowners who are worried about their livestock, personal safety, and the proud legacy of Scotland's right to roam laws. These state that anyone can access any land, regardless of whether it's privately owned or not. The fear is that wolf reintroduction could prompt many to erect fences in an attempt to protect livestock or to contain the wolves. Despite Lister's requests currently being at a standstill, recent government changes to agriculture provide a source of hope. Various schemes are now in place to subsidize landowners to regenerate soil health, restore native woodlands, and find methods to sequester more carbon. With a plethora of success stories from around Europe, there is a real hope that this cultural shift in the UK can have a profound positive impact. So, let's return to the visualization of a wild UK. If we choose to, we can restore our depleted lands to diverse, thriving ecosystems once more. By exploring...
I get so happy on certain images and noises. I know it might sound really weird, and I know some people get annoyed when when Americans say like, "Oh, I'm part X," and like I'm part I'm English and Irish, right? And a little French. But I have a great urge to just like want to go there just to like know where my ancestors like way back before they came to America, just to return there and just have this kind of familial feeling with the land that I know they came from. And it sounds kind of weird, but I can't help it. I have a longing to do that. Especially just seeing things like this and like beautiful music and
schemes are now
and I want to go back and just walk around and think just like hundreds of years ago. This is where my family kind of lived for so long. and
find
forever, or just, and yeah, I don't know. I get it.
methods to sequester more carbon. With a plethora of success stories from around Europe, there is a real hope that this cultural shift in the UK can have a profound positive impact.
I'm gonna need to stay with one of you guys.
Let's
though.
return
Need
to
a
the
house.
visualization of a wild UK. If we choose to, we can restore our depleted lands to diverse, thriving ecosystems once more. By exploring new areas of economic growth, we can enrich the lives of humans, plants, and animals for generations to come. Above all, what rewilding ultimately offers is hope. A hope that around the world people can reconnect with nature, driving more changemakers who are willing to love and defend it at all costs.
Hey there, this video was made in collaboration with this wonderful rewilding projects across the UK. If you're interested in more or want to get involved, please have a look at the description below. And if you enjoy our content, do consider subscribing and turning notifications on. See you next Friday.
Definitely. And I'm gonna do this one as well. Just, you know, I'll post it later. Really cool. Yeah. Great video. I love to learn about this stuff, and I'll see you guys next time. All right. Sorry, Natasha and Debbie. I hope this wasn't too soon. You know, after you did the same content. Love y'all. Hope you guys are all doing well, and I will see you guys next time. Bye. Failed to hit the stop button. Bye.